Hello, everyone. I am here with Vivian Robinson, and I am super excited about her for many reasons, but one of which is she came through a recommendation from her nephew, Sheldon Stovall. So I want to give Sheldon a call out, and then we have Jennifer later on. So I feel like this is like a whole family affair today. It's definitely very exciting. And I saw that Jennifer was watching earlier, and she made a couple comments in the chat. So I do want to put your book into the comments so everybody knows how to get your fabulous book. And if you could just share a little bit about yourself, Vivian, where you're coming in from, and then about your book and like what inspired you.
Okay, so my name is Vivian Robinson. As a profession, I was a nurse for 40 years, just retired in June of last year. I'm also a minister, been in ministry going on 37 years. I do outreach ministry. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all the social medias. I do missionary work. I travel. I travel to Kenya. I'm going back in the first 2 weeks in June, getting ready to go back and getting ready to work building a clinic there. I do ministry work, revivals, etc. Busy. I do I do a lot of stuff. But blessed, very blessed. Um, so and I've been to Haiti also, but I basically I retired to go into full-time ministry, so I travel more. I do a lot of counseling. I do counseling. I do a life coach counselor as a minister. So do a lot in my book. My book inspired to write this book. I wrote it in 2011. Unfortunately, after the passing of our eldest son. And I told his story. Um, so this book is about him, young man, 23 years old, when he passed. So this is about his life story. Not necessarily all sad though. Not all sad. Just told his story and how he lived his life. Nice young man. Marriage is very spiritual too. It's about family, love, grieving. So a lot in it, but God told me to write this book in his memory. He was going through some things right before he passed. So this is his story. This is about him. So and that was my way of breathing and it helped me get through it by writing his story. So and I wrote this book on a 21-day fast in 20 2011. I shut myself in. And for those of you that do not know what fasting is, it's when we go into a consecrated prayer and you don't eat or drink. And God just brought everything to my remembrance how to write this book. Never wrote a book before, never thought I would write a book before. So, but exciting. And I believe this book will be a blessing to everyone. It could touch everybody's life because we've all lost someone in our lives. And we do have struggles. So, mentally, and especially a lot of people after 2020, after, the pandemic, a lot of anxiety, etc. But this is a spiritual journey also, and spiritual words to encourage others and give them hope and give them someone that they can rely on, open up to in prayer, our communication with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So we just thank God for this book. So excited about this book, very excited.
Well, that was a lot to unpack there. I was like, oh my gosh, and I love that you were talking about being busy but being blessed, and I think that that's a super important for so many people is to realize. Sometimes these things are both, there's two coins, two sides to that coin, right? I am sharing a link to donations for the page as well as products. One of the things is here at 24 Authors in 12 Hours, the way that we're able to do this is we do not charge authors anything. It is our goal to just get the word out about the authors and let people know, like, hey, there are great books out there, and there's going to be a book that resonates with you. And also to share the story of the authors and to inspire people to continue to write and to create art. I think writing is a form of art that we do. We're really sharing a piece of hearts and our love with everyone and getting that word out. So I want to pull a little bit more that you had written or you had talked about how you had written this book in a very isolated way, which I think is very unusual for a lot of authors. And I kind of just want to pull through that. I'm a big fan of fasting. Next week, or yeah, I can't believe it. Wednesday, is Lenten season where, it's a form of fasting where you give things up. So really kind of just want to pull that, how this 21-day journey went for you, because I think that is such a neat kind of concept.
So before I wrote this book, 3 people told me I was going to write a book before I wrote. And the first one was my sister-in-law, because I had no intention of writing the book. My sister-in-law, she's like, "Oh, so when are you going to write that book?" And I'm saying, and this is after the passing of my son. I'm like, "What book? What are you talking about? I'm not going to write a book." I wasn't even thinking of writing a book. Then my very nephew Sheldon, he had wrote a book a while ago. Um, and he asked me, "Auntie, when are you going to write a book?" And I'm like, "Huh? What is he talking about? Write a book? What?" And the last one was my son Kevin, my middle son. And he's like, "Mom, when are you going to write that?" And I guess I'm going to write a book. Okay. And then God told me to go on a 21-day fast at the beginning of the year. So this happened in 2010. And when I got on my knees, and I fasted, like my fast was from 12 midnight until 5 p.m. And I only took in liquids. And then at 12 midnight again, I went back to fasting. So that's how I did it. But when I first got on my knees, I said, "Okay." Okay. I said, "Lord, just give me the direction of how to write it." And he began to pick up my pad and I began to write, and he began to bring back to my remembrance. I went from, if you read this book, from the birth of my son all the way up into, his life, marriage, he got married, etc. So he sort of guided me through writing this whole book. And it's spiritual. This book is very spiritual too. A lot of scriptures, a lot of word in it. To encourage people during difficult times and to give you joy. And like I said, it's not all sad because people say, "Oh, you lost." It's not just about loss. It's about family. It's about God. It's about love. It's about marriage, because that was the happiest point in his life when he got married. So his whole story. And then it talks about what we go through in this mind. We know the battle starts in the mind when we struggle. So it goes into that. And I actually have another book that's coming up that's going to be specifically directed towards the battle of the mind and different stuff that we go through, anxiety, depression. And it's going to show the natural definition, because it's one of the things I'm going to write on is anxiety. So it shows the natural definition of anxiety. And then then I'm gonna go to scriptures, spiritual scriptures that we can read that will calm us and give us peace. And then I'm gonna leave 7 pages blank so people can journal if that's one of their struggles, because that's a good way to also to help promote healing and to help us get through difficult times. So hopefully that book should be coming out in 2027. So that's my next book I'm gonna write on. But this book, it will be a blessing to everybody, and everybody's going to be able to relate in their own way.
I love that you shared that, and as we're talking about Valentine's Day, and just the last author, Caroline Beauvillier, she was talking about how we are out there seeking love, but at the same time, it's such a struggle for us
Mhm.
because if we're not healed, if we're not happy, then we're just kind of out there crashing into other people's hearts and probably doing just as much damage to them as we are to ourselves. And such an important thing. I love that you really kind of shared this journey, both on your first book, which I've interviewed a lot of authors, probably about 500 by now, and you were the first one who's ever said like, and this was it, and I was glad that I did that. Like, and so often, like, it's kind of like, are you a pantser? Are you somebody who goes by like a script? And you're like, no, like I just went like by divine inspiration. And I just thought that was like incredible part of this journey. It actually gave me chills when you were talking about that.
Mhm.
As writers, a lot of times people kind of feel like the writing process is done, but then the rest of getting the book published and marketing and all that could just be something that authors aren't prepared for. And it sounds like you kind of did this a little bit unexpectedly. Can you share that part of your journey? And then
Mhm.
also, as you're writing your next book, keeping that in mind, like, how are you doing things different? Because I'm sure you have learned so much.
Yes, yes, I have. And now with this book, I just didn't want to self-publish. Okay, I didn't want to go because you can do. I wanted it to be published by a publisher. So it took me a while. I started sending my book out. I sent it out to many different publishers, and it got rejected. And they're like, "No, this is not what we're looking for. This is not the story." And then money's their finances got in the way, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So just a process, but I didn't give up because I said, God, I know you told me to write this book, and this book is going to be a blessing to many. And finally in 2024, because my daughter, my oldest daughter, my oldest, she helps me a lot with my ministry, my website. She did that. She's a great inspiration in my life, and she travels in it. And my middle son Kevin travel with me in my ministry. So she said, "Mom, maybe it's not the time for the book to be out there and published. Maybe when that time comes, God would send somebody, and you'll get find that publisher." And sure enough, through my daughter, she had her own online T-shirts, hat, mugs, spiritual things that she did, and she had a Arthur that came on and was ordering T-shirts from her, and she began to talk to the Arthur, and the Arthur was talking about. My daughter asked, "Oh, how did you get your book published?" And she told her about my person, Louis Smith, who published my book. She's like, yeah, she's really good. She'll work with you. You don't have to pay it all at once. So my daughter got that information, gave that information to me, and she's like, Mom, call her. So I called Louise Smith, beautiful person, beautiful lady. She's spiritual too. She's a believer. And we clicked right away. And she allowed me for the payment of the book for a year, broke it down for a year, and I paid on it for a year. And then the year after, she helped me put this book together. So God works out all things. He works out all things. And she was just such a beautiful person. It's Kingdom Builders publication, but beautiful person. She has her own uh, her own business with her own publication company herself. Small, not big, but she's a believer because I wanted publishers through a Christian, you know, publisher because they would understand it more. But yeah, she helped me and worked with me, and my book ended up coming out. And let me correct myself. So I bumped into her in 2023 was, and my book was finally published and came out in August of 2024. Yes, it finally came out. So in August of 2024, if I said that correctly.
No, and I don't think anybody is going to fact check it, right? I mean, in the end, it's your story, it's your journey. I love that you are sharing that part of it, because I think for authors it's hard. And I'm actually gonna share my books. And I apologize, my cat is over here just like he wanted to be on TV this morning. They all just decide, they bring us such love and joy, and that's our feature, our focus today: love, joy, happiness. And my books are available for a free Kindle download today, February 14th and February 15th, in case somebody's listening in the future and they're not available in the future, but they do generally. I have all my books available for free whenever I'm doing a 24 authors in 12 hours.
Mhm.
And the love language for authors is reviews. And so if you're out there and you want one of my books, or if you want to pick up Vivian's book, which is an absolutely great read, download these books, check these books out, and leave us a review, because that is so helpful to authors. This is what changes the algorithms. This is what gets our word out there and the message out there. And Vivian, you shared so many important things, and I want to go with that theme of messaging, and that theme to authors, that you really kind of were like, you did this, but you didn't give up. It was over a decade later when your book went and got published. What is your message there on love and resilience that you'd like to share?
Gosh, we gotta love who we are and know that God made us all beautifully and divinely made. God doesn't make junk. Everything God made was good and very good. So by loving yourself, you got to believe in yourself also. And I put God first in all things. So he's the total one that inspired me to write this book, and never thought I had it in me, never really crossed. I done missionary work, I've traveled, I've preached for many years, and used to love to read when I was young. Didn't quite connect. I used to read a lot when I was young, but he brought it out in me, So so excited about that, and I never knew I had so much to give, written down in my own book. So it's like a dream come true. And I thank God for it, that I can help people, because I love to help people. As you see, as I do missionary work, I love the missionary work, going over to Kenya, bringing the things, helping the people in need, because there's so many people that are in need, and now I can help in word and scripture, and people buy the book. I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. It will bless you, and it's going to bless each person differently depending on what you're going through. But it will spiritually lift you up, encourage you, help you go through grief, healing, because we all have our different ways of grieving, and we all need to heal, and it's good to grieve, it's good to go through things. So so I just thank God, you know for all things. I give him the glory.
I love that you shared that. And one of the themes I've really picked up from you, and I'm not even sure if you're aware, but is this real sense of familiar love. Like I said, we connected through Sheldon. You've talked about your middle son. You've talked about your daughter. You really just kind of brought this whole piece into so much of love is about family, right? And so often the world just promotes romantic love as the only type of love. And so I wanted to just kind of wrap up here. Unfortunately, we did have some technical difficulties, so we're not getting your full time in. But I feel like, oh, we've just had this wonderful like fireside chat conversation this morning. And any last words that you want to share that we didn't have a chance to talk about?
Okay, so I want to read the back book. I have my book in front of me, and just want to read. It is absolutely possible to have the most perfect looking baby with extraordinary talents and gifts, and have some clear things discombobulated. You can be in the church with a mother and a father who are very devout with their own ministry for the community, and life seemingly is flipped upside down. Every parent desires to outlive their child, whether by accident, sickness, suicide, war, or defenseless killing. It is a feeling that no one wants to experience, a door no one wants to enter. The Battle of the Mind is one woman's story about her amazing first male child, the second child in the tribe, who was a delightful son, gifted musician, athlete, and friend. He seemed happy until he was not. A handsome fellow who had struggles and the pressures took him to dark places. Those who were closest to him now have battles in their own minds about the battles that were in Kyle's head. All the whys and hows that needs to be answered, but there may never be a satisfactory end to a tragic story. This account will show both sides of the battlefield from the perspectives you might not have considered before. And this book, easy read too, is not thick, but it's an easy read. Most people, and I've sold quite a few, and I get the feedback because I want to know, how did you enjoy the book? Did it bless you? And most people that picked up this book read it in 2 days. They said they couldn't put it down, and they said it was a blessing to him. So I got some great reviews on it, and that's exactly what I want to do as an artist. I want to be a blessing to people. I want to help. So that just inspired my. You buy this book, you will not be disappointed. It will bless you, and on spiritual, it will strengthen you. It will encourage you, and it will help you get through with loss.
Vivian, I feel like everybody has a reason and a connection. And what I'm going to say is, when you read that, wow, very powerful. And there's an author I want to put you in touch with. I'm going to link you up with, and her name is Kaija Lane. And she was a wife and experienced a very similar tragedy and wrote a book about it. And I think that the two of you absolutely need to meet. And I think your ministries and what you do is so incredibly important. Everybody, I really want to thank Vivian for her time. Unfortunately, we do have to go and talk to the next author. And just support your authors, share, like, subscribe, buy their books, leave reviews. And that is our love language. Thank you so much. And Vivian, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you, Amy. And thank you again. Thank you so much for allowing me to interview. God bless.